to this video series on HTML for beginners. Now in this video we're going to be talking tables. Now a pretty good analogy would be imagining yourself at your dining room table, and that dining room table is going to keep the food organized. In other words, you're not just going to slop it on the floor somewhere and start eating. So with that table, rather than you just slopping it on the table and start eating, you're going to put it on a plate. Now then, rather than just slopping it on the plate, well, you're going to have okay, stay with me here, a sectioned plate. Yeah, kind of like those picnic plates. It might have like 3 sections, one large one, and then a couple of smaller ones, one for maybe a dessert and one for a side. However, but anyway, say it's got 3 sections on it. Well, now then you've got a little bit more organization in your eating. You don't just slop food on the floor and then start gobbling it up. You put it on a sectioned plate. You put it on a certain section of your plate, and that plate is on your table. That table is on your floor. Now in this case, using that analogy, stay with me here, your table is on your web page, and on your table or within your table is a plate, and within that plate are sections or cells, and within those cells you've got your content, and they're neatly separated from one another so that it doesn't all look jumbled together whenever you open it up in your browser. So that being said, let's go ahead, if you were able to follow all that, let's go ahead and show you some of the tags we're going to be using in this particular video regarding tables. Now let's go ahead and open up our notepad here, and I'll show you these tags we're going to be messing with. Now the first one here is basically the opening and closing table tag. That's just like any of the other ones here. I'm going to put both of those brackets together like so, T-A-B-L-E, and this is our opening, our yin, and this is the closing, the yang. In between here, we've got a couple other items we need to tackle, and that is the table row and the table data or cell. This just tells our browser how many rows we're going to have and how many cells or chunks of those rows are going to be broken up to contain different data. So what we need to do now is again, the more you do this, the more you're going to start to memorize this. So it's not like a memorization course just yet, but it helps memorize them. So that being said, let's go ahead and do for our rows, TR, closing TR. Now then, within our rows, we've got, as I was saying, these cells that contain the data. Now it's not TC, for those of you that might have been jumping the gun here, it's TD, like data. So let's go ahead and toss those in here. Now you can have quite a few rows within your table, and you can have quite a few TDs or cells or table datas within your rows. I know that may be confusing at this point, but again, the more you do this, the more it's going to start to shed some light on it. Got our TDs and our closing TDs. And just on the outside event that your particular browser, and some do, some don't, may be kind of screw reacting if you've got nothing in here in your data or in your cell. What they like to have in there a lot of times, what I mean by they is I'm talking about the browsers, is the non-breaking space. Yeah, that's it, the NBSP thingy. So let's go ahead and toss those in there, at least one of them anyway, and that's the ampersand, which is located just above the 7 number key on the top of your keyboard. This guy right here. Hold your shift key down and hit your 7 key, and that's the guy that shows up, the ampersand as they call it. And it's NBSP, non-breaking space. I'm guessing that's what all that means. Anyway, so that makes it look a little bit better, so you don't have to worry about your browser getting all screwy looking. Now then, we can do, like I said, as many of these cells or data containers as we want within those rows, and we can have as many rows as we want within our table. Now just to kind of show you how this looks, let's go ahead and save this as Put this in my desktop, my HTML stuff. Okay, let's go ahead and put this in our working folder, and we're going to name this here how about table.html. Click on that, all files, okay, and save. Now let's put something in here just so we can kind of see how it looks. And let's try yes. Then we'll leave these filled up with the non-breaking space, whatever they're called, and that way we can kind of see what we're looking at here. So Control key S like Sam, and that saves this. Now let's open this up in our browser and see what it looks like. Now, and just for the sake of knowing, we're going to open up the browser first and then pull that file in. We do that by going to File, because we haven't done this before. Open File, and let's pull this on down here. And let's go ahead and find that particular folder, HTML stuff, table. I just double-clicked on it. Now you can see that it may not look very organized at this point, because frankly it isn't. It needs more formatting within those tables. But yes, this is and you see how it's going from left to right? Notice as we kind of read, very first web page, rather than as it shows it here, up and down. Well, that's just the way that we need to add formatting to make it look this way, or any other way we want. And that's what we're going to do now, is toss in some formatting. And why don't we go ahead and center this right up here, our center tag. Oops, just like the other ones, we need those angle brackets in there. Yes, that's a C, folks. E-N-T-E-R, sorry. And then at the bottom on the other end of our table, we want the closing center tag. And this should put it in the center of the page. So let's just check it out and see. Go to our browser and let's refresh, and now it's in the center of our page. Hunky-dory. Okay, now let's see what else we can do with this table. Now as you can see, there's no boundaries in here. There's no border. Which is cool. In most cases we don't want a border around each one of these tables, but in some cases we will. So let's go ahead and try to add a border, and what we'll do here is we'll just tell the table how we want it, and we're going to do that inside of this table tag. We don't need to mess with the closing table tag. That's going to tell the browser, hey, everything's over and done with this table. But up here, this is going to tell the browser how to show this particular table along with all the goodies inside of it. So here we're going to go with border, B-O-R-D-E-R, equals, and let's go ahead and toss in those double quotes. And if you recall, that's holding down your space key and that button just to the left of the enter key on the right hand side of your board. Then we'll go backspace, and the width, you put in a number here for, I'm going to go with 1 as the smallest, and as far as on the other side of the double quotes here, we're going to put a space and the width. You know how wide we're going to make this table? Well, we can do it one of two ways, either percentage of the window, or we can do a number of pixels. So let's go ahead and do both, and I'll just show you. We put an equal sign and then those double quotes again. We're going to go 100%, and the percent sign is just above the number 5 key, and then the closing of the double quotes. And let's go ahead and save this and see what it looks like. And let's refresh, and there we go. The entire table and everything inside of the table is defined by those attributes that we put in that line, telling the browser how to show that particular table. So you can see it took it all, and the entire thing has the border around it. Each data, each row, each cell rather, the data. I keep wanting to call it table data, but each cell and each row has that border around it. Now of course we can change this by getting rid of the borders on the inside here and just have the outer border as well, but that's getting a little